Hey there guys, welcome back to Aussie Coils and Coin Detecting. Thought I'd make a tutorial video more for beginners than people who have been detecting for a while. I know when I started out detecting, there are a lot of questions I had about what equipment should I get? Do I really need to get it? How does it work? All these kinds of questions. So I thought I'd put a video together for beginners on pinpointers. So pinpointer is basically a handheld device like this one in front of me that beeps when it's close to metal. That's the simplest definition of a pinpointer, and it beeps when this end here is close to metal. So if I approach a coin, turn it on. If I approach a coin, it will beep when it gets close to that coin, and as I get closer, it'll beep the time between the beeps will shorten to the point where it starts beeping continuously. Most pinpointers work in the same kind of way, generally speaking. A bit more information on how does a pinpointer work? Well, it's basically a mini metal detector, just not with as many controls. And metal detectors work by sending out electromagnetic field into the ground. Any metal that's in the ground will then be charged by that field and then will send their own electromagnetic field back to the device or back to anything and everything around it. And because the handheld pinpointer and also the metal detector have a receiving coil as well as a transmitting coil, they will hear the signal coming back. And that is what we then hear as a beep or a tone or a signal of some sort. So that's basically what's going on when you use a handheld pinpointer or the pinpointer on a metal detector or just the metal detector in general. Okay, so the next question that I had when I started out was, well, why do I need one of these pinpointers? Do I even need it? Is it going to make any difference to how I find coins and detecting in general? And I soon found out that yes, absolutely, it makes a huge difference having a pinpointer versus not having one. You might ask the same question, why do I need a pinpointer? Well, basically there are three reasons that I can see. The main one is the speed of target recovery. So what you want to be doing when you're detecting is you want to spend as much time as possible actually metal detecting the ground and finding good targets, and the shortest amount of time as possible retrieving them from out of the ground or out of the sand. It's very, very hard to do that without a pinpointer because metal detectors are great at finding the target, but they're not so great at pinpointing exactly where it is in the ground. So it really does save a lot of time. And because they're more precise than a metal detector, as you can see by demonstrating this, how precise they are when I get right in close. Like if I'm out to the side, I'm not getting any kind of signal at all at this point. So I'm only probably 3 or 4 centimeters away or less. As I get closer and closer and closer, I know exactly where that target is. There's no mistaking it. And when you're trying to find a target in the ground or on the surface or in a hole, it works the same way. It just lets you home straight in on that target. And by doing that, if the target's quite close to the surface, it means that you can retrieve the target by making a smaller incision or digging a much smaller plug, or making a lot less mess, if you like, of the ground trying to get the target out. This is mostly for parks, not so much for the beach, where it doesn't really matter how big your hole is there in the beach, you can soon fill it in. But at the park or a private permission or something like that, where you're trying to be nice and tidy, you really want to home in on the target and make the smallest possible hole and least amount of mess as possible. And the third thing relates to all of that as well, is just the less time you spend digging holes and trying to find the targets, the less energy you're burning doing that, and the more energy you can put into actually metal detecting and finding good targets. All right, so I've been scanning around a little bit
And I've got what sounds like a pretty good little target just here. Now it's 22, 23, and based on my other videos you probably have seen, that's usually a $1 or $2 coin. Now it's a bit hard to pinpoint sometimes with the detector alone. If I put it in pinpointing mode, it's roughly there. So let's just leave the detector there and I'll put a marker in the ground, just below it. Okay. And if I come around to this side, sorry about the wind guys, it's just getting real windy here all of a sudden. From this side it sounds a whole lot more obvious. 22, pinpoint. It's right there where that marker is again. So on this occasion, it's a lot easier to work out where that target is. It's on the surface, so it's not going to be hard at all to find. But what I generally find, if I've got a pinpointer, I don't even really worry too much about using the detecting pinpointer. I will sometimes use it just to, get an idea of where the target is. But more often than not, I'll just get it in my sort of vision. Oh yeah, it's that spot there. Pick a spot, if there's a leaf there, I'd say, yep, it's near that leaf. Then I come down with my pinpointer. I just turn it on, in the air, usually. There is a difference between turning it on in the air and turning it on when it's on the ground, which I'll explain in a moment. But then what I can do is just, I've got my pinpointer on. Where's this target? I don't know exactly where it is. I know it's here somewhere, and I'll just start gridding. Okay, beeps. I can hear beeps. And I'm looking for the closest beeps, which are right here. So I know that that target is right there. It's not over here, it's not there, it's not there, it's not anywhere else around it. It's precisely there. And what that means is that I can recover that target very, very quickly compared to other techniques where I might have to dig a big hole, a big plug, and then try and search through the dirt, scan it with a detector, muck around for 5 minutes trying to find it. I don't need to. If I've got a pinpointer, I can save myself a lot of time by using it like I just showed you. Dig a small plug, or not even a plug, just to pop some ground like that. And usually you'll be able to see the target immediately. And if you can't, it's not going to be far away. Use your pinpointer again. Okay, it's right there. It's beside it, and there we go. If I look in there, it's only just covered by a little tiny bit of dirt. It's a $1 coin, which is, what it did sound like a gold coin. There it is, $1. Easy as that, guys. That pinpointer will save you so much time. The other thing it means is that your hole will be a whole lot smaller. Your plug and the mess that you potentially could make will be a lot less, because all you have to do is just pop a bit of ground like I just did, put it all back into position, stamp it down, ruffle the grass, and there's no way you would ever know that I was there and I'd just got a coin out of that bit of ground. Whereas if you dug a big plug, this sort of size plug, trying to find it, you're making a lot more mess than you need to. So that is why a pinpointer is worth its weight in gold, and you really do have to get one. They just make life a lot easier, and they'll stop a lot of time wasting.
There's also probably a fourth reason why you should use a pinpointer, and that is you reduce the chances of damaging the target itself that you're looking for. If I don't know exactly where the target is in the hole, I could, if I'm using a sharp digger or a spade or something of that nature, if I just drive it into the ground not knowing where the target is, I could easily hit the object directly, put a big scratch in it, dent it, break it. That's the last thing you want to do if the target happens to be something like a nice old military badge or an old silver coin or something like that, or a gold coin. You're going to be pretty dirty with yourself if you damage it. Using a pinpointer, you know that the target is left or right or deeper or wherever it is in the plug or wherever it might be. You've got a very good idea of where it is once the pinpointer picks up on the target, and so you can continue digging safely to the side or around that object without the chance of hitting it, because you know where it is. If you don't use the pinpointer, you have no idea where it is, you could actually make a real mess of it. So that is another good reason to use a pinpointer.
So just demonstrating the pinpointer, using the pinpointer again. I've got a shallow 17 target. You can see that it's only 1 bar down, and because of the double bounce sound, I know it's shallow. Now, I don't need to really pinpoint that with my detector. To save time, I'm just going to pick the spot on the ground where I believe it to be, and it's somewhere here. Going to get my pinpointer, turn it on in the air, wave it across. And with the wind, guys, you mightn't be able to hear, but it's right there. If I go across this area, it beeps mostly just here. So I know exactly where that is. Now I can just dig a small plug, or I can just just bring the ground up like this. Just go in and bring the ground up, and it'll split the ground like so. And I don't know if you can see that, guys, but on its edge, I'll bring you in, on the edge is a coin, and it's going to be a 50-cent piece with the 17 like it had. Even though it's on its edge, still a very clear sound. I've split the ground, I've got the 50-cent piece showing, there it is, out of the ground, my 50 cents. And now to tidy up, all I've got to do is take my digger out, push the ground back in, like so. Give it a little bit of a, just push it down back into place, ruffle the grass, and that is done, and you would not even know I've been there. That's the beauty of the pinpointer, and that was slower than I would normally do it because I'm explaining as I go. But normally that would have been a 30-second recovery, and I'm on to my next, bit patch of ground. I'm not spending longer than necessary trying to get that coin out of the ground and find out what that target was. And that's what it's all about, is covering as much ground as you can while you've got the time to do it, and recovering the targets quickly like that. Okay. We've got another shallow target here, 21, 22. There are some other targets around it, but I'm going to focus on the 21 and 22 because that's the one that I'm looking for, the $1 and $2 coins. Again, I'm going to use my pinpointer, my handheld pinpointer, to home in on it. Okay. Okay, I know the target is right there. It's not on the surface though, it's down a little bit, and I can tell, when I say down a little bit, I mean it's only probably 2 or 3 centimetres underneath the ground because the beeps are not close together. I'm still just going to go under the target, and I'm just going to pop the hole like this. Let's see what we got, and I can see I've got a coin here, or maybe a badge or something. You probably can't see it. It might even be a $1 coin that's had the mower attack it, I reckon, actually, by looking at it. So it's just in the plug. Pull it out. Yep. Oh no, it's a badge. It is a badge. It's damaged though. Some kind of badge. It sounded like a $1 coin, that's for sure. I'll bring you guys out a bit. Okay, I'll have to clean that up to see what's on it. It might not be damaged, it might just be the shape of it. Yeah, but it sounded like a $1 coin, that's for sure, or a $2 coin. We popped it quickly, made no mess. Fill our hole in, like so, ruffle the grass, and you wouldn't even know that was there. So yeah, interesting. I'll clean that up and we'll have a closer look at that. Don't know what that is yet. I'm not sure if it's damaged or made that way. We'll find out. Okay, so I've dug a plug in the area where the target was, and I often find also that if I put the pinpointer in the ground and I can't get a signal, I can in this case, it's just towards the right hand side of the bottom of the hole, but if I can't get a bit of a match, or can't seem to find the target, I will ground balance the pinpointer, and it definitely increases the sensitivity, and often then you will get a signal with the handheld pinpointer. So that's just a bit of a trick that I've learnt sometimes for the deeper targets. If you're having a bit of trouble locating them, do a ground balance, and you will usually find that then you will pick up the sound of the target. So I'm just going to dig out some ground here, some dirt, and we'll see what this deeper one is. Again, using the pinpointer makes life a lot easier than it would otherwise be. We'd have to keep digging out ground, lots of dirt, waving the dirt over the detector to hear if it beeps or not. If it doesn't beep, dig out more dirt and continue that process until we found the target. If we didn't have the pinpoint, now it's out. Yeah, I know it's out because it's gone silent. And there's the target's going to be right here. So it's definitely not in the ground anymore. It's out. It's on my mat. And there it is. 1 cent coin, which is pretty much what we thought it might be, a 1 or 2 cent coin. But I just wanted to demonstrate the pinpointer in use again for the deeper targets. But it really does make retrieval much faster.
So this raises the question, which pinpointer do I buy? Well, it comes down to a few things. It comes down to budget. It comes down to how you're going to use it and where you're going to use it as well. So I would suggest, there are some very good mid-priced pinpointers around. I would, generally speaking, stick to some of the better well-known brands like the XP, Duos, Minelab, Garrett, Nocta Macro. There's a good Fisher pinpointer. They're the main ones that I know of. There are probably others. There are also some cheaper eBay options, not really branded. They're copies and that sort of thing, and they're okay for basic functionality, I guess. You could pick one up for $30 or $40 or something like that. At least it'll give you an idea of what they're like to use, but I wouldn't really personally go that way. You can also spend a lot of money and get the much higher quality pinpointers for $200-300. Not necessary straight away. So yeah, I would say something in the mid-range is a good start if you can afford to do that. And also consider carefully whether or not you want to use it in the water or not. If you do, you can get some little mini handheld pinpointers that double as a mini detector. So if you want to do some scuba diving or snorkeling or something and you want to look for coins and such underwater, that's a good way to go there. If you're not going to go in the water, or you might only put half the pinpointer in the water, most of them will deal with that without too many problems. But just do some research, read some reviews online is always a good thing to do. There are lots of good websites around comparing 4 or 5 of the best ones, giving you some good information on how they work. One thing that really made a difference for me was finding a pinpointer that had a rechargeable battery in it instead of 9-volt battery or AA's or AAA batteries. The XP pinpointers have a rechargeable battery in them. I just love the fact that I can detect for probably 20 hours or more without changing batteries, probably 30-40 hours. And then I can just come home whenever I like, plug it in and recharge it, and away I go. I don't ever have to worry about carrying batteries for it. So that was something I really liked. And I also liked the ability to turn off audio and have just vibration. If I'm hunting around amongst people, I don't want to annoy them with the beeping of it, or if I'm doing some night hunting, I don't want to be annoying to others. So they are important things for me, but you might have different needs. That just gives you a bit of an idea anyway on what type of pinpointer to get. Just quickly cover, what do you do if you don't have a pinpointer? How can you find the target easily with your detector instead? And this is what I did initially until I worked out that a pinpointer was a necessity. Really all you can do is use the pinpoint mode on your detector if it has one to get as close as you can to the target. You can then obviously look at the surface of the ground. Usually the detector will give you some indication of the depth as well. So if it's very close to the surface, sometimes you can see the target. Sometimes you can use a screwdriver or a probe of some sort and just probe the ground and hopefully you'll hit the coin. If it's a bit deeper, what you might have to do then is dig a plug around where you think the target is and fold the plug back. Then use the detector to scan the plug only and then try and scan just the hole only and see which, whether it's in the plug or in the hole. And then all you can really do is try to sight the object. And if you can't see it, you're just going to have to dig out soil and place it on a mat or a bag or something beside the hole. Or you can dig out handfuls of dirt and just run your hand over the metal detector while you're holding a handful of dirt. Obviously don't wear any rings while you're doing this. And try and hear the beep, and if there's a tone, well, you know that you've got the object in your hand. Or if you scan the bag with dirt on top of the bag and it sounds there, you know you've got it on the bag. And then you can just gradually start sifting through the dirt using those methods to find it. But it's a whole lot harder to find the object without a pinpointer. And once you've got a pinpointer there, you'll never go back. It just makes a huge difference to your detecting. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or a like, and yeah, please subscribe. It'll help me build the channel. And I'll just put the link to the next video up the top, and go ahead and watch that when you've got some time. Thanks very much, and catch you next time.